Hi everybody, welcome to the channel. This is Moyna Bass Fishes and I'm Jim Moyna. In this video, I am going to discuss the plans for the year 2024 regarding my tournament fishing and overall schedule. All right, so first of all, I guess the primary goal of me being a professional fisherman is to compete in bass fishing tournaments. So it always starts there. When I plan out the year, it always starts with that in mind and what are my primary goals within that. Okay, so the number one goal would be I want to successfully compete at the top level of the sport. Okay, as a lot of you tournament enthusiasts may know, you have the Bassmasters Elite Series as one top national circuit, and then you have the other one would be MLF, Major League Fishing, the Major League Fishing Bass Pro Tour. So it's one of those two is where I want to be. Excuse me. In previous years, I've been trying to get to the top of the MLF Tour, the Bass Pro Tour. Just haven't gotten there. Gotta catch more fish, bottom line. But this year, going into 2024, it just seemed like the better option was to fish the Bass Opens and try to get into the Bassmaster Elite field. So that's that's where my schedule starts. It starts right with when I open up the calendar for the year. The first tournaments I put down on it for this year were the Bassmaster Open tournaments, which the Bassmaster Opens are the qualifying tournaments that would get me into the elite field for 2025. The 2024 elite field is set. That those qualifiers come from last year and then from the people that have been fishing it. So, but for 2025, that's where I want to be. They have 9 spots, new spots open and available for 2025. And by fishing the Bassmaster Opens, that's how I'll get there. What they do is they take, in the Bassmaster Open Angler of the Year points, they take the top 9 point finishers and move them into the Bassmaster Elite Field for 2025. So I need to be one of those top 9 guys. And from what I understand, there's, well, as of a month ago, there was 150 guys signed up for all 9 of these Bass Opens. There were some guys that signed up for, 3 of them here, 3 of them there, whatever. Those aren't the guys I'm really competing against for the elite spots. So there was 100. There might be a little more now. I mean, there was 150 as about a month ago. They may have boosted that up by now. I really don't know. It's going to be a challenge regardless. So that's where I'm at. And what some of you might be wondering why I didn't go back to the MLF, because I've been with FLW for years until they got bought out by MLF, and been with them for the last couple of years. There's several reasons, which probably are a whole nother video, so we'll just leave it at that. All right, so I lay out the 9 open tournaments, and to me that's not enough. I can't do just 9 because I don't have a full-time job. I don't have a part-time job. I just fish. That's what I do. So I needed to look at what other tournaments can I fill my calendar with. Well, we have a trail here in Minnesota that is called the Champions Tour. It's kind of a local tournament or regional local tour within state. But believe it or not, percentage-wise, it pays out better than Bassmaster. It pays out better than MLF. It's one of the best paying trails I know of today. So it's definitely a high priority. It's not, the stakes aren't as high. The entry fees aren't as high. The winnings are not quite as high. But the cost to reward ratio, the cost meaning the entry fee, the gas money, the lodging, those types of costs, those accumulated costs, that ratio of those costs to potentially what I can win, that's a very good ratio going on there. So I'm in, and I signed up for it. The Champions Tour consists of 3 regular season tournaments, and they then have a championship. So I signed up for those. Now so now there's still room on my calendar even after doing those. You know what I really this is what I would have done. This is my preference. If I could have fished the Bassmaster Opens and the MLF Invitationals, both of those, that's what I would have done. But because these organizations, they don't work together in setting their schedules at that. I mean, so they overlap stuff, and they may overlap practice. You know, I'd get shortchanged on practice times in certain cases and so forth. So if I can't do it right where I'm able to practice for each and every one of them at least a couple of days, I just feel like it ain't gonna work for me. So it was almost possible to do it, and I actually considered I would have had to shortchange myself on some practices and that badly, but I just decided not to go that route. I don't know, and plus you just have to lay out a lot. There's a lot more money you got to lay out, a lot, because those MLF Invitationals are spendy. They're like $5,000 a piece. And it would have had you do get the potential for a better reward than the Bassmasters Open if you win, but I don't know. I just didn't feel like I could spread myself like that thin. So anyhow, we got the Champions Tour, we've got the Bass Opens, and I still had a little room and the other thing I like to try to do is I like to try to get into that MLF Toyota Series Championship where they pay $200,000. I like to try to get in on that. I think as a professional angler, the more tournaments that I can fish where I can win a lot of money like that, that's where I need to be. So I signed up for the MLF Toyota Series Southwestern Division, which I've fished the last 2 years now. And the Southwestern Division is, and I also signed up for one standalone tournament in the, I think it's, the Central, it'd be the Toyota Central Division, and that lake was Smith Lake there in Alabama. So right there, so that was, so the Champions Tour is 3 tournaments plus a championship, that's 4, plus 9 for the Bass Opens, so 4 plus 9, that's 13. And then the 4 divisionals in the Toyota Series, that's 17. And then if I make the Toyota Championship, that's 18 total tournaments, which is a pretty good load. Those of you who are know me from Canada and that, my Canadian buddies and that, you might say, hey, what about Fort Francis? I got mixed feelings as far as going there this coming summer. I mean, I love fishing that tournament. And Kenora. I haven't fished Kenora for like 20 years. I love doing that one too. But it's just a matter of scheduling. And with the Rainy Lake tournament, the Champions Tour put a tournament right like 2 days ahead of it. So if I was to do the Rainy Lake tournament, it would be a matter of going up there without and just not even practicing. I'd have enough time I'd fish the Champions Tour tournament, gather my stuff, drive up to Rainy, and have enough time to rig up my rods for that tournament, and then go fish it. In the past, I've been much more likely to do that than now, and the reason why would be, well, the payout's less there now than what it used to be. It used to be a great paying tournament. It's still a fun tournament no matter what, but the payouts it's just not like it used to be for payouts. So, and then not only that, probably the most important thing is in the past, it was just, to me, it was easier to do well there. Nowadays, the fishermen up there's a lot of really good fishermen, and it's just tougher to have a good finish. Not that I'm not capable of it, but it is tougher. And then not only that, I haven't really been up there with forward sonar to learn that lake and how it plays out with the forward sonar. I haven't had that opportunity, and that's how it's been won the last 2 out of 3 years. 2 years ago when I was there, it was a super high water year, and a lot of good shallow patterns were available, and it was a lot of fun just power fishing shallow. But outside of that, last year and 3 years ago, forward sonar really has wrecked them. And if I was going to, I mean, I need to get out there and scout around a little bit with some forward sonar, scout out some deeper spots, and not only that, the basin, the North Basin, where Joe Thron and I have cast so many checks and had some victories in that North Basin. It's got the fish, but it just seems like it's not putting out the winners anymore. So I really need to put some homework in on the south basins and try to expand my knowledge out there if I really want to have a chance to win. So that's why it's not as alluring for me to go there without any practice. If it was set up, if that lake was set up like it was back in the late 1990s and 2000s, I mean, I'd have no issue about going out there with no practice and, throwing my hat in the ring, but not nowadays. So anyhow, that's, I guess we can talk about, I guess we didn't really name any other lakes other than those, so let's just talk about some of these lakes. Well, here I did make a list of goals. Okay, now you know what circuits I'm fishing. So the number one goal of everything, out of any goal, number one goal is to qualify for the 2025 Bassmaster Elite Field. That's the primary goal. If I can achieve that, it doesn't matter what else happens in any other tournament. If I achieve that, the year will be measured as a success. Other goals would be qualify for the MLF Toyota Series Championship and win it. That, if I do that, because you'd win $200,000, if I do that, no matter what else happens, the year would be a success. 3, qualify for and win the Champions Tour Championship. Okay, that's if I accomplish that, there would still need to be some other things that I need to accomplish. I mean, that's an awesome goal to achieve, and that would go a long ways to making the year a success. But that in itself would not make it a total success. Okay, next, win at least 2 tournaments. You know, something that's kind of shocking to me, and I can't believe it, is it's been multiple years since I've won a tournament of any kind. That's depressing. I'm really good about cashing checks. I'm consistently cashing checks, so that part I can take care of, but the lack of top 10s, lack of wins, is a bit disturbing to me. I'm 58 years old. I don't think I'm over the hill yet, but there is an age where that happens. There's an age where that decline begins. I don't think I'm there. We'll see. All right. Anyway, so those are kind of the goals right there for tournaments. Obviously, I have goals for this YouTube channel. I have goals for my Facebook. I want to grow my audiences there. Sponsors love that. They love to see that. I have goals for sponsors as far as certain things that they look for, as far as promotions, appearances, social media numbers. You know, I'd like to meet some of those goals. And But as far as tournament goals, that's what they were. All right, now let's look at the schedule, okay? So here's how the schedule, and it's 18 tournaments, and I'll just go right through it quickly. All right, February 1st through the 3rd, Bassmaster Open on Lake Okeechobee. I've started the year many times over my career on that lake. It always had been a very, very stingy lake for me. It's been a nemesis of mine. I could consistently catch fish in practice. And well, some years I couldn't even find them to practice, but there's many practice years where I'd have good days and just flounder in the competition. In the recent maybe 4 or 5 trips to Lake Okeechobee, I have found myself landing in the money, so that's a good sign. Hopefully I can continue with that trend. Those days of just floundering at Lake Okeechobee hopefully are behind me. Next, so on February 15th to the 16th, we got another Bassmaster Open. So that's only 2 weekends later. That's at Lake Ouachita in Arkansas. That's going to be really cold, more than likely. Even if it's, average temperatures for that time of year there, you're probably looking at low temperatures, below frost. And then during the day, you probably get above the frost, get above freezing. So, and it very well could be, like below, it may never get above freezing the entire day during some of those days I'm there for practice and the tournament. So it's going to be quite the contrast going from South Florida and Okeechobee, and then 2 weeks later, boom, I'm at Lake Ouachita fishing some super cold elements. That's going to be super contrasting type of fishing right there. And it's a good thing. I kind of like that. I like how the schedule just starts right off with just a super twist like that. Okay, then right after Lake Ouachita, I go to Lake Sam Rayburn for my first Toyota Series tournament on Rayburn. I've been there the last couple of years for the Toyota Series. This would be February 21st to the 23rd. I'll probably get, I don't know, maybe 2.5, 3 days of practice there, which, I've made that work in the past, fishing the MLF tournaments, MLF invitationals and pro circuits. They had 2 or 3 days of practice, so I'll make that work. Then, after that, March 7th through the 9th, another Bassmaster Open on Santee Cooper in South Carolina. That is, March 7th, 8th, and 9th. That is still probably before those fish are spawning, I'm guessing. Pretty certain that's the case. I have not had that great of luck on that lake. I've been there twice. So, that's definitely worrisome to me. But you got to make something happen, right? So after that, we go March 26th, 27th, and 28th. We got a Toyota Series tournament on Toledo Bend. I've never, believe it or not, this is going to be like my 29th year of professional fishing. I've never, ever have competed on Toledo Bend in a tournament, ever, in 29 years. So that's what we have to look forward to. See what that's all about. I'm hoping it's not a whole lot different than Sam Rayburn, but we'll find out. And that could very well be spawn. The spawn could be happening there. March 26th, 27th, 28th. And that would be good. I'm all for the spawn. I like spawn tournaments. To me, it's easy to find the fish when it's like that. It's probably easier for everybody, but I think then if I find the fish, I think then my just ability to get them to bite can maybe rise above most of the field. All right, after that, April 4th through the 6th is another Toyota Series tournament, but this is in the Central Division on Smith Lake. I thought I'd throw this one in there. I like Smith Lake, and I just thought I'd just keep my boat, truck, and camper in the south and head over there and give that one a shot. Then after that, we get almost a whole month of nothing. So my next tournament's May 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. Another Bassmaster Open in Logan Martin. Never been there that time of year. I've only been there twice, once in August and once like in October. So looking forward to that. Then 2 weeks later, May 16th, 17th, 18th, the final Toyota Series divisional tournament on Lake Eufaula in Oklahoma. Been there one time. That lake's a tough lake. May 16th, 17th, 18th, post-spawn, early summer. That'll be an interesting tournament, to say the least. That's just an uncomfortable time for me, as far as seasonally speaking. Okay. Then after that, I don't know, about 3 weeks later or so, June 11th, the Champions Tour has their first tournament on Lake Okoboji in Iowa. Lake Okoboji is basically on the border of Iowa and Minnesota. A lot of tournament circuits in Minnesota go down that way. In my entire career of fishing money tournaments in Minnesota, which started in 1989, so over 30 years for that. My entire history, I've never been on that lake. So that'll be a brand new one. But it went okay last year when I had 1 day to practice on a tournament that was brand new to me in Minnesota. And so we're going to have to make it happen again on Lake Okoboji, June 11th. I like the timing of it. I think with that timing, I just feel like I can get on the fish. And I'll have adequate practice. They don't put any limitations on practice, so I can probably set 4 or 5 days aside. And the northern bass, there's smallmouth and largemouth, the northern bass. There shouldn't be anything surprising to me. It's nothing I haven't seen before. So give me 4 or 5 days of practice, and I should be competitive. All right, next, June 20th, 21, 22. Bassmaster Open on Lake Eufaula in Oklahoma. We go back to Oklahoma, where I just was the month before for the Toyota Series. That lake scares the crap out of me, and here I got 2 really important tournaments on it this coming season. So it's going to be a challenge. That's why I like tournaments and the tournament lifestyle, because it brings me to life. It brings me these challenges. I look forward to that. It scares the hell out of me. Like, the one time I did fish it was, 2 seasons ago? And I did make the 3rd day cut in the MLF Invitationals. So, I'll figure something out. Anyways, after that, then we go to July 11th, 12th, 13th, Bassmaster Open, Lake St. Clair in Michigan. Full of fish there, of course. But guess what? This is another scary tournament for me because I have a poor history there. Where there's poor history, I just get worried. I'm sure I'll be running all over the place, like my head's cut off in practice, and I don't know, we'll just have to just dial it in like all the others. All right, next, after that one, we have a quick turnaround. So that Bassmaster Open, the last day, that's the 13th. My next tournament is July 16th on Gull Lake in Minnesota. So realistically, I'm going to have a day and a half to practice. And Gull Lake's a tournament where I've fished many Minnesota tournaments, many times. I've won tournaments there, done well in tournaments there, and I've had some bad ones. But for this Champions Tour tournament there, I feel like I know enough to be dangerous, to at least compete, and make a decent showing of it. Next is another Champions Tour tournament, August 6th. So now we're in August, and that's on the St. Croix River out of Hudson, Wisconsin. Oh my gosh, I have not fished a tournament there since like 1986, 87, something like that. It has been a long time. It's the St. Croix River is a tributary to the Mississippi River off of Pool 3. And I really don't know what kind of boundaries they're going to put on us. Are they going to keep us just into the St. Croix? Are they going to let us fish Pool 3? Are we going to be able to lock to Pool 2, lock down to 4? I don't know. But it's river fishing. I love river fishing, even though it burned the hell out of me last year on La Crosse. But I do like it. Can't wait to get there. Next, August 22nd, 23rd, 24th, Bassmaster Open on Leech Lake in Minnesota. Can you believe it? A Bassmaster Open has come to Leech Lake in Minnesota. That's really exciting to me because as the crow flies, Leech Lake is like right over my shoulder, probably about 35 miles as the crow flies. So, and I don't have a lot of bass tournament experience there. I have won tournaments there. I've finished in the money there, but that's a long time ago. I did get out there for fun 3 times last summer, just for the heck of it, for fun. And I haven't been out there probably 10 years prior to that, and prior to that, probably another 15 years or 10 years. So, but anyhow, it's just exciting to be fishing close to home for a Bassmaster tournament, and that lake's gonna fish really small. The lake's got over 100,000 acres, but it's gonna fish small. So, and whenever you fish small, there's always these other elements that you really can't control that come into play. So anyhow, next August. So that Leech Lake was August 22nd, 23rd, 24th. Next tournament is August 27th, which is the Champions Tour Championship, which they haven't announced the location of it. It's going to be, who knows where. It's going to be Minnesota, somewhere around Minnesota or on a border water or something. I may have one day to practice that. They do restrict some of the practicing for that tournament. So depending on how they set I may not even be able to practice. So that kind of sucks, but I got to take that Bassmaster Open on Leech Lake. I got to take that on with all my might. 5 days of practice, 3 days of the tournament, and then when the championship for the Champions Tour comes around, hopefully I'm in it, which I feel good about that, but then just try to make it happen. All right, after that, September 12th, 13th, 14th, Bassmaster. Oh, this is the 8th Bassmaster Open out of 9 on the Mississippi River in La Crosse, Wisconsin. So that's Pool 7, 8, 9. Those of you who have followed my tournament fishing last year in 2023, you know that this was the tournament that gut punched me. It was the one that took me out of qualifying for the Bass Pro Tour. I was sitting in qualifying position going into that last tournament there and had a poor tournament, fell out, and here we are, just trying to figure out a way to back to the top of the world of tournament bass fishing. So, and of course, I love fishing. I love fishing in the Mississippi River. It's scaring the hell out of me because I just know that there's just no givens there for me. All right, now, next, we're down to 2 more tournaments. October 10th, 11th, and 12th is the last Bassmaster Open on Lake Hartwell in South Carolina. Hopefully, when we go into that one, we're still right there in the hunt for the top 9 and the Angler of the Year points. On October 13th, I'll either be a really sad and disgruntled person, or I'll be high as a kite on the 13th. And I mean naturally that way. All right. Last tournament is November 7th, 8th, and 9th. That's the MLF Toyota Series Championship on Lake Wheeler in Alabama. and hopefully I'm there. Hopefully I can win. And one other just little wild card thing to say here is I might try to wiggle in a couple other tournaments, but I don't know what those might be at this point. But that is my schedule. There's also the WON Bass U.S. Open out west. That's going to conflict with the last Bassmaster Open. So if I'm really sitting in a bad spot going into that Lake Hartwell tournament, and I can get make it happen to get me out to Lake Mojave for that U.S. Open, I would probably pick that over Lake Hartwell. But if I have any chance of making the elites going into Hartwell, then Hartwell's, that's a lock. So, all right, well, that's my whole tournament schedule. So, if you have any questions, if there's anything you want to know, maybe I can do another video. But thanks for watching. I can't believe this video went on this long. I felt like I wasn't rambling too much, but here we are, I don't know, half hour later. Over.